Good evening, folks, and welcome to another edition of An Hour with Bob. Here we are. It's, April already. Tax time. Everybody's getting ready to get rid of their winter coats. Actually, it was pretty nice out today. The winter's gone, I think, I hope. Although I was listening to a Boston station for a little while today and driving in here, and I heard they were talking about snow north of Boston for late tonight, early tomorrow. Well, we won't get that in Rhode Island. Anyway, we're going to have some fun tonight. We have one of our good friends from CBS 12 here tonight. We also have a major from the National Guard going to talk about the air show. And this year's air show proves to be, or looks to be, the biggest in the country. And we also have some of my old friends from way back when. We have a good friend of mine, Steve Cannon's here, with our mutual friend, and he's going to talk about this heating system that I've been talking about on the side. It's called the Navien heating system. We're going to get to it, and the reason I'm bringing it up is because it is the most efficient heating system out there, gas heating system. Unfortunately, if you have oil or some other kind of system, it's not going to work for you, but if you have a gas heating system, a gas hydroculator system, water system, you can replace it with this system, but it's phenomenal as it goes. It's made in Korea, I believe, South Korea. But we'll get to that in a little while. But first, we got to say hi to my good friend, Mike Montecalvo. Nice to have you back, kid.
Hey, Bob. Thank you for having me back.
I like the suit. You all of a sudden you started with you got fancy on me. You got.
I did?
Well, yeah. You started getting the double-breasted. You changed the
you
look.
Noticed that?
Of course, I noticed
Okay,
stuff like that.
I was the first person to wear a three-piece suit on the air.
You
and
were?
Yeah. Now I decided to do the double-breasted.
Double-breasted.
Yeah.
I noticed it right away.
You know, when I got married, I wore a double-breasted suit, and then it kind of went out of style.
Out of vogue. Yeah.
But I love those
You brought them
suits.
back.
Well, I don't know if I brought them back, but maybe some television show.
But I
brought
did.
them back.
Didn't I text you about that?
Yeah.
I texted you about that.
Yeah.
It's a nice suit.
Yeah.
And
Thank
you could tell it was a sharp suit. You know, you look good. You look good in it. In fact, I had a couple suits made in Thailand when I was over in Thailand. Very inexpensive, by the way. You should give me the measurements. I have them made for you over there in Thailand.
Really?
Yeah, I'm serious. Italian cashmere leather, Italian cashmere wool.
Yeah.
Custom made. 4 fittings or 5 fittings, $125 a piece.
Wow.
Yeah, and if I added the
And they throw an extra pair of pants in there too, I'm sure, right?
Well, I was just going to tell you that if for another $20 to throw in a vest or if you want double breast or whatever. Yeah. And they've made leather jackets. They made all kinds of stuff. They make all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I like mixing it up just to make it different.
Yeah. Well, it was noticed. It didn't go unnoticed.
Thanks, Bob.
So how you doing? How long you been at Channel 12 now?
I think I lost track of time. Let's see, doing nights about 10 years.
Really?
Yeah, I did part-time at Channel 12. I did part-time sports for a couple of years, and I did.
That's when you started on TV, was it sports, wasn't it?
I actually started on Cox.
Yeah, right. That's right. That's right.
Did,
Cox 3.
Yeah, Sheila Sullivan and I went to college together, and she kept saying, you should try TV. And I said,
well, we'll get to that. Don't blow my gig here.
All right.
Talking about TV. Keep talking about TV.
All right.
So you started on TV.
Yeah. So I started doing. I did P. Bruins games.
Right.
I did 13 years of high school hockey games, play-by-play. I love that. I love doing the hockey games.
Did you do the Mount mostly?
I did, and now you know what that
I
streak
wonder why.
the streak was going on when I was doing it. It was like 26 in a row.
26 years.
And every year you thought, okay, this is going to be the year, and they just kept winning. And I did the game when Tollgate beat them. And I just couldn't believe what was going on. But back then, Bob, this year the games did great with Hendricken and LaSalle. They sold the knee and out. But back then, the lines used to be outside Schneider getting in. They would get there an hour or 2 hours ahead of time to try to get into the games. It was incredible.
Oh, I interviewed the father and the son there years ago when they were in that streak, when they were running the streak.
It's funny because, I was talking to somebody about this. The pressure that they were on was unbelievable, because if you talk to the father and Dave now, they're very relaxed, even though they've won several championships after that.
Right.
But they're very relaxed, and back then it was like, there was a lot of pressure on them because you did not
You
want
had
to lose that streak, or those kids did not want to lose that streak. So obviously he's the greatest hockey coach in state history, one of the greatest in the country, really.
And it didn't fall far from the tree, so to speak, with the kid, not only in hockey, but how about in Little League baseball?
Too.
He made not only national news. They were using clips of Belial on CNN.
You know what, Bob?
And on ESPN.
Dave's a winner.
Yes.
He's just a winner. He knows how to win. He knows how to motivate kids. He loves coaching kids. It helps that his kids were in the whole system too.
Right, right.
But he treated everybody like they were his kids. It was incredible.
You know, when they mic'd him up and what he was saying to the kids when they got beat and when the kid would strike out. I mean, he wasn't screaming at him. He wasn't browbeating them.
No.
You know, he was just such a positive role model for not only for our kids, Rhode Island kids, but for the United States. I mean, they were using his clips.
Well, his wife just recently lost her battle with cancer.
She did.
And he had a rough time. But just a couple of weeks ago, I went to watch a hockey game, and sure enough, he's behind the bench for some little all-star
Really?
game. Yeah, the kids were like 10 years old, 11 years old. So he's back at it too. So he's a very, very nice guy. Very nice guy.
Now, you grew up in Woonsocket.
I did.
And I remember back in the day, because I lived in Woonsocket for a couple of years. I owned a house in Woonsocket, and we'll get to that with another person that's with us tonight that you just found out is from Woonsocket, still lives in Woonsocket. And get this one, ironically, he lives on the street I lived on, and I didn't know that until just a couple of minutes ago. This is crazy. Yeah. This is Rhode Island. But you started on the radio, for those that don't know it, and many people probably don't know it, and you're being honored in the Rhode Island Radio Hall of Fame, right?
Yes, thank you.
Coming up in May. Congratulations
May
on
7th.
that.
Thank you very much. I went to LaSalle, and I was supposed to be a lawyer, go to law school. I was supposed to go to Providence College. I got accepted, so I convinced my father to let me go to Rick for 1 year.
Right.
So I went to Rick, and
you had nothing of theology stuff, right?
No, but I already had it at the back of my mind. I'm going to go to Rick for 1 year, convince him for 1, and then stay for 4.
Right.
And that worked. They had a radio station.
Right,
I got
and
involved.
they still do, right?
Yeah, and I got involved, and so I was at school maybe 6 months. So I decided to make myself a tape of a show that I had at the Rhode Island College radio. So it was WRAC at the time. So I'm on Diamond Hill Road, and that's where WNRI is. I'm trying to figure out how am I going to get into the building, because I'm an 18-year-old kid.
Right.
So I waited in the back door, and as soon as somebody walked out, I rushed in. And
Cool.
I walked in, and there's this guy smoking a pipe, and he just bought the station. He was a professor at Emerson. And I told him, you have to give me a radio show. I'm from Woonsocket. You know, I have my own radio show at Rhode Island College.
Was that Bouchard?
No. This was before Roger Bouchard bought the place. And so he said, do you speak Portuguese? And I said, no. He goes, well, we have a Portuguese show. The gentleman doesn't speak English, but somebody has to run his show. I said, I'll do it.
Really?
Yeah. He said, do you know polkas? And I said, no. He goes, well, you're going to be able to, I'll do it. And then he said, but, he goes, I need to tell you that you need to vacuum the radio station and you'd have to clean the bathrooms. I said, I'll do it.
I'll do it.
And then I'm thinking, where else are you going to go with this? Then he goes, I can only pay minimum wage. And I'm thinking, oh, all right, I'm already cleaning the bathrooms.
Right.
I said, I'll do it. And that's how
Did they change your name?
No.
I'll do it?
And then the funny thing is, somebody asked me, how did you do with the gentleman who spoke Portuguese? I said, well, I had to do really well. At Christmas time, he gave me a bottle of really expensive scotch, which I didn't drink at the time. But so I guess I did all right. And that was the beginning.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what's ironic about that, among other things, is that it was a Portuguese radio show in an area that's predominantly.
Bob, they still do a French show. Roger LaLiberty, who is retired now, was the police chief in Coventry. He did a French show on ON and NRI back in the day. So they had French, they had Portuguese shows. And then they played regular music.
But I can't see Portuguese up there back then anyway, because it was. I mean, it really was.
Well, their
French
signal went
there
into.
then.
You're right. The signal went into like Central Falls and those type of areas.
Yeah.
This one gentleman would have a show. I think he's still on the air. He would stop the record and then read a commercial and then play the record.
During the record?
Yeah, he had so many commercials, so many sponsors. It was incredible. It was incredible. Just a great guy. So that was the beginning of my radio days.
All right. Now, what was the beginning of your TV?
So Sheila asked me to see if I wanted to work on Cox, and then there was this other gentleman, Frank Wing, and he had his own cable show too, and he wanted me to do some stuff for him. So I got to interview George Bush when he was
The father.
the son, when he was endorsed by Ted Williams. We went up to New Hampshire, and
Wow.
Ted Williams was going to endorse Bush, and he couldn't come downstairs to the ballroom because he was not feeling well. So we went up to Ted Williams' suite, his bedroom, And we interviewed Ted Williams. I interviewed George Bush.
How cool is that?
Yeah, so I did that on Wing Sports, and I did a lot for Cox. And then Frank Carpano one day called me up, and he said, hey, Mike, you want to do sports on Channel 10? And it was like I was back at WNRI. I said, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it. I didn't ask how much it was or whatever. And I did that for 2 years, and then Channel 12 called me, and that's how it all happened.
Wow.
Yep.
And
So-
you did sports for how many years on 12 before you ended up?
I did a couple of years, I went to 12 knowing that some way I wanted to get into news. And I think the news director knew that too. So I did sports for a couple of years, and then Danielle North decided to step down. She was having another baby, and she wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. So I took her shift. So they let me work Saturday, Sunday. So I worked Monday through Friday at the radio station.
Wow.
And
And
I also-
Saturday and Sunday at the
TV station, and I also taught 3 classes between Bryant and New England Tech Monday through Friday. So I
Wow.
did it, and I coached my kids' teams, and I played softball. Yeah, sleep is overrated.
Yeah, no kidding.
Sleep is overrated.
You're
So-
high energy guy.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's how it started, and then they decided to put 2 people in mornings. So I joined Pam Watts in the morning on Channel 12, and that's how I started my full-time.
That's
my
right.
role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you've seen a lot of people come and go, and Mike Montecalvo still stays.
Yeah, you know what? It's like you, I love Rhode Island. I used to say all the time, I got offered a job once in Connecticut in radio, and it was a good job. And I said, I enjoy playing softball with my friends. I know that sounds really,
Right. Yeah.
I like hanging out with them. I like hanging out with my kids and knowing the way they're playing. And it just, so I never left. And plus, I had a great job, great jobs.
Yeah.
So, and I love working at Channel 12. I love getting on the community. So.
Yeah, you do a lot of speaking, right? You do a lot of
I do.
going to schools and.
Between schools and events, I think that's part of the job. I think they're tuning into the TV station to watch the news. They want to see what's going on. We do a lot of investigative pieces. We do a lot of weather. We do a lot. But I think also, when you go and speak to a group or you host their charity event and they see you there and they can relate to you on TV.
Then they'll watch you.
Yeah, they'll watch you, or it's like, we watch you all the time and we really appreciate you being here. I can't tell you how many times I get that, even notes after the event, but, we really appreciate you being here. That means a lot.
Absolutely.
So, and that's.
Well,
so
it means
I'm
a lot
here.
to them too. That
Yep.
you're there, that you're out in the community, and you're not one of these stuffies that just thinks you're too good to.
I love talking to people, and plus
Yeah.
my wife and kids are used to it now when we go somewhere and somebody comes up to the table, so they got it down pretty good.
Yeah.
Although my youngest daughter, keeps telling me that Justin Bieber is more popular than me, so I don't know.
Really?
Yeah,
How does that feel?
She
How does
reminds
that hurt?
she reminds me about that all the time.
snap?
Yeah.
Well, that's like I had John DePietro on here last
Yeah.
show, and his daughter was invited to the Ellen show.
That's Jacqueline, right?
No, Kate.
Kate, okay.
The 15-year-old. He gets invited. I said, you had to know what was going on. He said, I didn't. He said, I knew she was one of the finalists for this contest they had for this band. Do you remember the name of the band, Corey? I can't think of the name of the band. I'm not up on a lot of those newer bands. Anyway, but it was a 4 or 5 piece band, guy band. And the kids love them, the young girls love them. And he said they were sitting in the stands, and Ellen had just had them play a song, and they finished the song, so she went over to talk to the band, and she's talking to them. She said, by the way, there's somebody, a super fan here, would love to meet you. And she looks into the crowd, and she goes, is Kate DePietro here? And she comes flying out of the seat, comes flying down, runs over, hugs every band member, hugs Ellen. She's standing next to Ellen, and Ellen announces that, yeah, you won the prize, and the prize is you're going to go with this band on tour for 4 or 5 or 6 cities. You're going to go with the band. But you're not going alone because you're only 15. I don't want you with these guys.
Yeah.
So you're going to take one of your family, your father or your mother your father with you. So he didn't come on the air. You didn't see him.
Yeah.
But they were talking to her on the stage, and she got to go on tour with this band
neat.
with her father
Yeah.
and fly. And
Yeah.
they went to Utah. They went to Vegas. They went to 5 cities, right? I think they went to 5 cities.
Nice.
You got to go around them.
Yeah.
How old are your kids?
I have one that's 20, and my youngest one, who's mentioned Justin
girl.
Bieber, they're both girls, 16. So she just got her permit.
Oh God,
So
no!
that's,
Did you
that's
teach her to
interesting.
drive? Are you
I
working
am.
on it? You
We're
are.
We're working on it.
Yeah?
Yeah, she's doing pretty well actually.
And
She
how are you as a teacher? You got
strict. We went to Situate
Really?
High School, and we would go in.
You
and out
said
of the
that
park.
you were very quick with
And-
that. Strict.
And she learned going in and out of parking spaces. That's how she started.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's
that's good that you
she's
teach her
graduated to the road now.
Now, she didn't tell you that the newer cars, they park themselves now?
Oh, she's told me a lot about these cars, Bob. She's been researching cars, and I keep telling her that's not going to happen.
And by the way, the reason I mentioned Justin Bieber, right? Isn't it? It's not a V. It's
Bieber, yeah.
Bieber, right?
Yeah.
Justin Bieber. The reason I mentioned him because he was on the Ellen show that day.
Well, yeah, I think she discovered him or something, right?
I don't know.
I think it was something. Well, I'll tell you one quick story. So we go to the Dominican on vacation. So Isabella and I are walking, and she says something about, she brings the whole Justin Bieber thing. I said, you know what? Daddy's just as popular as Justin Bieber. So she goes, that's not true. But within 30 seconds, I hear, hey, is that Mike Montecalvo? We're in the Dominican.
No way.
And I look up, people from Cranston are at the pool. And
How
just
cool is
Bella's
that?
face just like
Oh
dropped.
my God, is that
Yeah.
great?
Yeah, so I remind her about that every once in a while.
Wow. I was in Thailand 2 months to the day after the tsunami they had over there a few years back, right? 5 or 6 years ago. And I'm interviewing a guy. I knew there was a guy there from Rhode Island. He lives in Newport. Dwyer was his last name. And so I got to meet him. I located him at this club, and I talked to him, and we agreed to meet the next day down by the dock. And he was going to tell me the story that he was a captain of this rich guy's boat, and he was taxied out to the boat, or took the dinghy out to the boat, got on the boat, pulled up anchor, tied the dinghy, pulled up anchor, and he just was motoring out to the deeper water because he said they were only in a few feet of water there, and he's motoring out to where the water drops like a cliff that drops off, gets real deep. And he says all of a sudden he heard a noise. Now he's telling me this, I don't have my cameraman, I'm doing it myself. I got the video camera on my shoulder, and I got the mic, and he's telling me the story, and all of a sudden, a couple. Now I got the water behind him, you know, to show the water where he was, where the dock was, and this couple walks by, into the shot, and the guy looks over at me, turns back to his wife, but he turns this way so I could see him. Turns back to his wife. He says, "Look, there's Bob from Bob's Big Adventure." I kid you not, 10,000 miles away.
It proves that it's a small world.
It's a very, well, we proved it again.
Yeah.
This, the major here is from the same town, not the same town that you were from, and I lived for a time, but he actually lives on the same street that I lived on.
Well, the crazy thing is, though, I grew up in Woonsocket. I could have walked to Mount St. Charles, and I went to LaSalle.
I was going to ask you that, by the way.
Yeah.
That was odd.
Well, you see, I was a hockey player, and I sat at Mount St. Charles, and I watched LaSalle beat Mount St. Charles for the state championship.
Wow.
So I told my father that's where I want to go. So my first year at LaSalle was
the
Mount's
start?
first year of the 26-year run.
I'm just going to say that.
So I tease them all the time. I was like, one of the reasons why you never won. But LaSalle finally won a couple of weeks ago. So
you killed their shots. As soon as you went there, you killed them, right?
So, but yeah, I loved LaSalle, and I loved Rick, and here I am.
Back, and you still live close. You don't live in Woonsocket, but you live close enough. You're still in the area. You're still in the northern.
Yeah, I go
Rhode
back.
Island.
I go throughout the entire state. It's just the job,
Right.
whether an event. I remember I was telling you off air that I did an event at the Italian Workmen's Club, talked about growing up in Woonsocket, what it was like. So I worked at both radio stations in Woonsocket, by the way, Bob. I worked at NRI.
NRI.
And then I went to which was WWON at the time. Now it's WOON.
Now, where is that located?
They're on Park Avenue now in Woonsocket, but they used to be
Where
on
was it?
Getchell Avenue.
On where?
Getchell Avenue in Woonsocket.
Get you. I'm missing that.
As a
Where-
kid, I used to play street hockey in their driveway. And I got to know all the people that were on the air. I was this little kid, and next thing you know, this little kid is working at the radio
That's cool,
station.
huh?
Yeah, that was.
So you knew early on what you wanted to do in life. You didn't want to be a lawyer.
I wanted to be, I wanted to be on the air. I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be a detective, and I wanted to be a teacher. And every boy wants to be an athlete, but I knew that wasn't going to happen. So those are the four things that I thought of. So I interview detectives. I'm a teacher. I'm on the air. I interview police
and lawyers.
and lawyers. So I got it covered, I guess.
Wow.
So yeah. So it was early on. I knew I used to listen to the radio, and I would try to call in to do instant requests so I could hear my name on the radio. And I finally got on one day, and when they announced the Radio Hall of Fame, I had mentioned that this guy Mike Waite was on JB 105 years ago.
Right.
And he had this thing called Waite's Complaints, so you could call up at night and complain about something or request a song. So he did, and he played it back, and I could hear myself on the radio, and I go, yeah, I'm pretty good. That was horrible.
Wow.
I'm pretty good, so that's how it started. So
I was just on the radio show that's on the weekends there, where you call in if you got some kind of improvement or something, house improvement.
home improvements.
What's the name of that show? Anybody know the name of that show? So some kind of home improvement show. I can't even think of the name of it.
Those shows do well too. Those are specialty shows that are on the weekend. Yeah, they all do well.
It's on a Saturday afternoon. In fact, they sent me a gift certificate for Home Depot. I got on the air for. I can't think of the name of the show now.
I don't know.
It's on Saturday afternoon. Anyway, it's a guy and a woman on the show. On the Saturday afternoon. Nobody knows the name of the show.
You're the one that was on the show. You're the one supposed to name and don't remember the name of the show.
I can't even think of the name of the show. That's too bad. I'll bet you I will before this show ends, folks. I will remember the name of that show. Anyway, do you miss Karen Adams, by the way?
I do. She sent. When did I run into her? Well, first of all, she's
The Money Pit is the name of the show.
The Money Pit. That's on PRO.
The Money Pit.
Okay.
I told you.
Karen sent me an email a few months ago. I did a story on. My mother had Alzheimer's, and we feature that every year because we sponsor the walk, the Alzheimer's walk.
Right.
So I did a piece. They've been asking me at work to do it for a number of years, tell my story. I never wanted to do it because you never want to be the focal point. So I decided to feature my father and my kids and what was it like for them. So we put it on the air, and it was good. And she sent me an email like right after it aired. So I sent her back. I go, "You're in Rhode Island?" Because it aired in September. I go, "When does the world tour start?" So she's playing a lot of golf. Her husband's playing a lot of golf.
Really?
She's a phenomenal golfer.
Yes,
obviously.
yes.
But yeah, I miss Karen. She was great to work with. I love working with Shannon and Kelly now too.
Yes.
So I'm lucky. So.
Well, Shannon's very nice. I met her.
Yeah.
Very nice girl.
Yeah, they're excellent to work with. We've got a good team at Channel 12. So.
And now now do you have to do, what shows do you do? You do the 6?
I do them all, Bob.
No, wait, you don't do them all. You don't
All right,
do
I
them
do
all.
the 5, 5:30, and 6.
You do?
Right.
Oh, no, you don't do the 6:30 one, though.
No, I do
All
5,
right, so you get
5:30, and 6.
I had to be right somehow.
And I do the 10 on Fox and the 11 on Channel 12. So I do 5 shows.
Wow.
Yep. And in between shows like tonight, I came to see you.
Right, and you got to go back to work, too.
Yeah. So, so it's fun. We have a good team.
Well,
We
you
have a good
must,
sports
you must
team.
love
Weather.
to do it, yeah.
I love telling stories. You know, kids ask all the time, why do you do this? You know, or even adults, why do you still stay in? It's 33 years for me in May that
Is
I've been
it
in
really?
broadcast. Yeah.
Wow.
33 years. And you got to love what you're doing if you're going to keep doing it.
Right.
I love telling stories. I get the opportunity to go out and report on stories. I love doing that. I love going to community groups, hosting events. I do auctions.
You do auctions?
I do auctions.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What, they still have that auction house? They used to have one on 146. They had an auction house. Is that what you're talking about?
No. Well, a lot of the schools will do auctions, so I'll do auctions for them, charity events. I don't get paid for it.
Oh, all right. I
Yeah.
thought it was.
So I like doing all that stuff, and then, one day I'll retire.
No, you won't.
I get tuition to pay.
No, you won't. You're not retired. Even if you didn't have tuition to pay, you're not the type. You're not the type.
So I've taken up golf. So that's my new thing.
Really?
Yeah, I'm horrible.
Yeah, most people are when they first start.
Not like me.
No?
No.
They're that bad, huh?
Yeah.
As good as you were as a hockey player?
Yeah.
Well, hockey players are usually good golfers.
That's what they told me, and then my friends watch me play golf, and they pretend they're not with me. So it's.
Well, I know we got to get you back to work. I'm glad you stopped by to say hi to us, and I
Absolutely. Thanks for the invite.
again I want to congratulate
Okay.
you for
Thank you very much, Bob.
the Rhode Island Radio Hall of Fame. Mike Montecalvo, how long were you with WNRI?
I was WNRI a couple of years. I did NRI, ON, and then I went to WERI in Westerly. And then it was RI 104, and then they turned it to WRX, which was a classic rock station.
WRX.
103.7. It's sports now.
Oh, okay. What was the state, before I do let you go, since we're on the radio, you had WIC back in the day. It was AM, but
That
it
was
was
550.
well, that became 550.
Yeah.
That was WXTR when I
Right,
remember.
right.
Right, that's in
Yep.
John Street in Cumberland.
Yep.
Cumberland, Lincoln, over there.
Good memory.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I was born in Cumberland, by the way. Actually born in a house in Cumberland.
I thought you were from Pawtucket your whole life.
No, I'm from Pawtucket, but
yeah.
I was born in
Oh,
Cumberland.
okay.
I grew up in Pawtucket, but I was actually born in Cumberland, and my family moved to Pawtucket soon after I was born. But I was literally born in a house on 20 Eddy Street in Cumberland.
Yeah.
But WXTR was 550, right?
Yeah.
Who was the guy that used to be on that station? It was a real controversial type guy. There was a guy on there. Well, maybe not so much. Maybe controversial is the wrong.
I know Chuck Stevens worked on
Chuck
that
Stevens
for a long
was
time.
one of them.
He played oldies.
Yes, but there was another guy in there. Was a real gung-ho guy. Well, anyway, but WIC back in those days was a AM like an FM station is today.
Well, they all were. When I broke in, I was playing music.
Right.
On AM stations.
In fact, back in those days, I went to a concert by Bobby Vinton.
Yeah.
And I got to go to the concert by just buying packs and packs of Dentine gum. And you get so many packs of gum, you go see Bobby Vinton at Crescent Park.
Oh, man, I used to love Crescent Park.
Crescent Park and Rocky Point, both of them. Yeah.
Jolly Charlie's.
I had it in there big time because Charlie Nassif,
Yeah.
Louis Nassif, I went to high school with. He
Yeah.
was a nephew.
Yeah.
We used to go up there. They had the best pizza ever. Anywhere, they had the best pizza.
There was a lot of good memories back then.
They had some great places too.
So.
Back in those days, they had a lot of great places to go to. You
Yeah.
know, all around Rhode Island and Massachusetts. There was some Raddies. You remember Raddies on Route 1? They had like 4 or 5 of them, but they had one on Route 1. Raddies Car Hop. It was. They had one.
No, see,
in Pawtucket.
we just went from Woonsocket to Jolly Charlie's, and then from Jolly Charlie's we went back to Woonsocket. So there was no going around.
There's not that far. That's all you did is Woonsocket and Jolly Charlie.
No, and then we would go to see my relatives that lived in Cranston, Johnston, and North Providence. And my friends were like, "You're leaving? You're going to pack a lunch?" You know?
I had a friend that lives in Woonsocket, still to this day lives in Woonsocket. I lived exactly 11 miles from door to door, from my house to his house. He lived on one of the longest street names I know of, and it's in Woonsocket.
Elder Ballou?
Elder Ballou Meeting House Road.
Okay, that's in the northern part of the city,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
Well, it's right near where I lived,
Yeah.
Oregon Avenue. It's right off of Mendon Road. Well, he lived there, a couple houses behind the fire station. You come out of his driveway, take a left onto Mendon Road, and then a left onto my street in Pawtucket. That was the only turn he had to make. He would not come to Pawtucket. It was too far. It's 11 miles exactly. I says, I will give you a lunch to take home with you. He would not drive that far.
I think we've come a long way since then.
And also, when I lived there, I went to the town hall. When I bought the house, I went to town hall and I said something about, I got to go into Providence. I got to go into the city, the downtown Providence. Got to go into the State House. He goes, you're going there? And he was a tax assessor. Hadn't been to Providence in 12 years. I said, you're the tax assessor, right? You hadn't been to Providence in 12 years? He goes, no, I don't have any reason to go there. At the time, and I don't know if it's not the case anymore, it used to be a toll call to call Providence from Woonsocket.
Correct.
Right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
My first cell phone I got, I happened to be living in Woonsocket when I got it, and I could not make a phone call from Oregon Avenue. I had to go down the hill to make the phone, for the phone to work. It would not work on Oregon, and that was at the time what is now Verizon. It was I forget who it was. Who was it before Verizon? Who'd Verizon take it? 9X, I guess. And yeah, I could not make the call from my yard, from my house, from my yard. I had to go down the hill, take a left, go down the street a ways before I could make a phone call. But it was a toll call in a pay phone or a house phone to call Providence, Rhode Island.
Or Providence, Cranston, anything like that.
Yeah. From Woonsocket.
Yep.
And if you said to somebody from Woonsocket, we're going to the city, to them, you meant Milford. Is it Milford?
It was Milford, Franklin, Bellingham. Those were like some of the other.
Those are the big towns to them. That's the big cities to them, right?
It was. No, I don't know.
Not anymore.
Right.
But I mean, back in the day, that was like the big thing.
Yeah.
But it has changed a little bit, I guess, right?
It has changed. I mean, like I don't know what the percentage was growing up, but I used to joke around my street. We were all Italian. Actually, the city of Woonsocket had their own Italian church, St. Anthony's Church, which is still in Woonsocket. I don't know how many Italians are left there, but.
We got the Italian Workmen's Club, though. That's big.
That's still going strong.
That's big. I was in the parade, the
Autumn Fest.
Autumn Fest parade, and you go right by that, and that parking lot was jammed with people.
I know, running out of time real quick, Autumn Fest parade, that's going to be the second biggest parade in the state. Besides
Great parade.
It is.
Next to
Bristol 4th
Bristol
of July
4th of July parade.
Yep.
So. Have you ever been? You've been in the Bristol 4th of July parade.
I've been in the Bristol parade. I've been into the Policeman's parade, the Autumn Fest parade. Yeah, I did. Actually, when I worked for WWON in Woonsocket, they did like round-the-clock coverage. So I worked Autumn Fest, so I've walked in that parade. That's a fun.
It is a fun.
That's my favorite weekend in the state.
I love
Situate Art Fest. That's my favorite weekend. I take that
love
Monday off.
Absolutely, absolutely. Why? I always say that the Woonsocket Autumn Fest is one of my favorite, if not my favorite. One of my. Actually, I've said it. It's my favorite.
Autumn Fest, Situate Art Festival, the Feast on Federal Hill. I mean, there's so much. And you can start tagging your Christmas tree that weekend, too.
Yeah, yeah. And you go on a diet the next week because you got to eat like an animal.
You do consume a lot of food in that weekend.
It's easy to do.
Yeah.
It's easy to do. There's a lot of great food then. Dynamites. Where do you get a dynamite but Woonsocket?
My mother, who was full-blooded Italian, knew how to make one of the best dynamites you could imagine.
And I'll bet you most of the people watching this tonight don't know what a dynamite is. Does everybody over there know what a dynamite is? Yeah, they all
You can
do.
quiz them when they come on.
I'll ask them when they go. All right, I got to let you go.
All right,
I know
Bob,
you got
thank
to
you
get
very
back
much.
to work.
Okay.
Thank you for stopping by.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, get us out of here. We'll be right back.
We're the tiniest, state in the country in terms of miles, but we're passionate and we're independent.
At 1,045 square miles, you could fit about 250 Rhode Islands into Texas.
Small state, you can drive right through it in 45 minutes. You can be in Massachusetts and drive right through and be in Connecticut in 45 minutes, so it's very unique.
Not everything in this state is small. Its official name, the state of Rhode Island and Providence Plantations, is the longest in the nation. Besides, there are more important things than size in Rhode Island, like your license plate number.
In Rhode Island, the status symbol is the low-numbered license plate. There are low-numbered license plates that have been in families in this state literally for generations.
My mother took over my grandfather's plate because it was 200.
This one hasn't been changed in about 20 years. They haven't given me a new plate.
There are people who will buy numbers from other people, and they'll pay more than they did for their cars.
In 1986, lucky number 7 went for $25,000. But Rhode Island drivers have another more dubious distinction. According to a national road safety test conducted by an insurance company, the drivers here are officially the worst in the U.S.
I think I'm a great driver. Everybody else is a bad driver.
They don't use directionals. We call them blinkers in Rhode Island.
That was Rhode Island, the great state of Rhode Island. That was on Prospect Park, right? In Providence, Rhode Island, that last clip. Anyway, we're here with Steve Canning. How you doing, Steve?
Very good, Bob.
Steve
Thanks for
Canning's
bringing us
with
here.
Supply New England in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, off of Lonsdale Avenue. And we're here with Jim Martel of Martel Plumbing and Heating. And we're here because we want to talk about something. I have mentioned this before on the show, and that's this system right here. I finally got these guys to come by, bring one by. I got the guy that sells it, and I got the guy that installs it here to talk about the Navion heating system. It's a gas heating system. Steve, tell us a little bit about this.
Well, mostly, Bob, it's very high efficient. It's 95% efficient. It's a combination boiler. What it does is it gives you heat for your house through your baseboard, hydronic heat, and it also
and
gives
hot
you-
water.
Yeah, domestic
Hot water, domestic hot water.
Right.
The water,
The
the
shower
faucet,
and
yeah,
so forth.
the faucet water, right? And when you say the heating systems, it can only be hooked up to somebody that has either can it be hooked up to radiators too?
If they're hot water radiators,
Right,
yes.
right.
Or radiant heating in the floor.
Oh, can.
Yep.
Now, how about a steam system? No.
Steam system, no.
No, but it's hooked. What do they call it? Hydroculated system.
Hydronic.
Hydronic system, which is baseboard, folks. If you have baseboard in your house.
Hot water, hydronic is water, hot water.
Okay,
Yes.
which is based on a loop, right? Most of those systems are based on a loop, right?
Correct.
You get the water comes from
Feed
the
and return
boiler,
from the boiler,
feed and
yeah.
return. One feed, one return. It comes from the heating system. The heating source goes around your heating system and returns, and gets pumped right back through the boiler, which heats it up again and sends it back around. But the difference between this system and another system is, who's going to answer that question for me? What's the big difference between this kind of system?
Well, it's high efficient. Like I said before, it's 95%. It's sealed combustion, meaning it brings in outside air through one pipe,
right,
and vents out through the other one. So you're not using any heat air.
You're not taking any air from the house, which is what most boilers do, right?
Correct.
Because if you got a boiler, a freestanding boiler in a house, it's sucking the air in the house to make, because it needs a flame.
For combustion, correct.
Right?
Yes,
You need a
exactly.
flame.
Yep.
So you're using the air that's already been heated, right, to make the flame.
Yep.
And the thing that I find to be most amazing about this boiler, and correct me if I'm wrong, you could not touch the exhaust pipe of a regular boiler, and the pipes on a regular boiler are made of metal. This exhaust pipe is made of plastic.
That's right,
PVC.
Bob. Yep. These ones
Why
here,
is that?
These vent well because you're using lower flue temperatures. So we're able to use either PVC or CPVC piping to vent to the outside.
And that's only what, a 2.5 inch pipe?
This is a 2-inch pipe, this particular application. You can vent up to 80 feet, I believe, with 2-inch, and up to 150 feet with 3-inch.
3-inch. Now that's, you have one is what, a feet, one takes the, like Steve said, takes the cool air in?
Exact. One's an exhaust that vents to the outside, and the other one's pulling air into the unit for combustion.
So you're not stealing air that's already in the house and already been heated,
Exactly,
as we
correct.
just talked about.
It helps it get the 95% efficient.
Right, and that tells you right off the bat that it's got to be damn efficient, that you're not losing the heat up the chimney, because if that was the case, then that plastic would melt.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
That's why it's
Like we were talking about earlier with Jim's father's house, where he saved
there you go.
40% on his
Correct. My father's currently using one of these on a
Your father
three-family.
before that had gas, right?
He had a gas. He had an older style gas, traditional gas style boiler that vented into the chimney, atmospheric type
Right,
of boiler.
and he had baseboard around
He
the
had
house.
baseboard house in the apartment, correct, and he had a 75-gallon, I believe, hot water tank. So he was using a 75-gallon hot water tank for hot water for the 3 apartments.
Right.
And he was using the older style boiler for the heating.
So it's a 3-apartment too.
Correct, exactly.
That was going to be one of my questions.
On the smaller side, so it's not a huge 3-family
Right.
apartment house. It's kind of on the smaller side, 2 small
But
1-bedroom
still,
apartments.
It's still 3 zones.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
So
now we
you're
installed
saying
one of these
this is,
Navians.
and by the way, this comes in 3 sizes, right?
Correct. The 180, the 210, and the 240.
All right, 180 would be like a single-family house, right, or an apartment.
Correct, correct.
And the 210 would be a single-family house, and a 240 would be the multifamily, right?
Correct. The bigger the house, the bigger the size boiler you want to go with. The more the hot water demand, the bigger the boiler you want to go with too.
So you're saying that this also supplies the domestic hot water. So I'm taking a shower, I turn the water on. This thing, unlike a conventional hot water system, like you said your father had, the boiler to make the heat for the house, heat the water that went around the heating system, but then he had a 75-gallon hot water heater to heat the water that you take a shower with and wash your dishes with, whatever.
Correct. And this
so
now
this
takes
eliminated
the place.
that?
Yep, this takes the place of both of them units all in one.
You don't have to keep that 75 gallons of hot water hot
Keeping it
all the
warm.
time.
And like I tell people that they'll say, well, you don't have to keep it warm like in the summertime. Yes, you do, because it's still going to cool down, right? And then you're constantly heating 75 gallons or 60 gallons or 40 gallons,
Correct.
right?
And like you were talking about earlier, it has the flue. You know, your traditional style hot water heaters have the flue that go into the chimney, so you're constantly losing that heat coming up through the chimney. And you're losing it. You know, which you don't do with the Navian. Keeps all the heat inside.
Wow. So when your father changed over, or you changed him over, right?
I did change him over.
You
correct.
changed the system. You put in a 240.
I did. I put in the 240 combo boiler, similar to this. Yes.
Right. And what has happened since?
He's experienced probably close to around 40% savings from what he had before. So taking out the other 2 units, the older style hot water boiler and the 75-gallon hot water tank, and installing this, he's seen savings of around 40% on his gas bill.
That's amazing.
Which is great, yeah.
You know, and a good thing for that, because of the efficiency, National Grid offers rebates.
Yes, and this year is why I've decided to go for one this year, because what's the rebate?
Well, on the combination unit, it's $1,000.
$1,000 rebate. Rhode Island's finally catching up with Massachusetts.
Well, they've been doing it for years.
But not in that number. It was like a 250.
Well, no, it's been pretty good. It's been...
They've fluctuated over the years. They've come up and down. Last year they went as low as 500. Now they're back up to 1,000 this year.
Wow, that's
However,
nice.
Navian also increased the efficiency of this to 95% versus the older models that were only 93%.
Yeah. Right.
So now going up to the 95%, that's what brought the rebate up to $1,000.
Oh,
so
I
now
got
you're
you.
eligible for the $1,000 rebate.
$1,000 rebate. Now, does that come? How does that work? I buy the boiler from you.
Well, the
from
homeowner,
Supply New England. How does that work?
Whoever has the gas bill, whoever name is that bill, he gets the rebate. So if it's your house,
right?
Jim installs it, you get the rebate.
Typically what I would do is I would come in, I'd install, you hired me to contract the job. I would come in, I would install the unit for you.
Right.
Upon completion, I would help you fill out all the paperwork, the forms,
Oh,
get
you would do
everything in
that?
a row. Absolutely.
Oh,
Make
that's
sure you have
nice.
all your papers in a row. You can send everything in. Comes 4 to 6 weeks. You get a rebate check in the mail, made out to you, Bob Venturini. You could take it, cash it, deposit it, do whatever you like with it.
Yeah, it's not like somebody's.
Not like a tax credit or something like that. It's an actual check. You can take it, deposit back into your bank
You
account.
can do whatever you
Correct.
want.
That's
Correct.
exactly what I was leading up to.
Which is a big factor.
Yeah,
it's
because
nice.
you see these rebates they have for cable and whatever. They give you a card or something. I got 2 of them that have expired because
Right.
I never used them.
Right.
And this is nice. You get the actual money back in your pocket. Right? You actually get an actual check back.
Yep,
Right?
correct. Made out to you, cash it, deposit it, do whatever you like with it.
Now, can you take this cover off?
Sure.
Oh, wait, before you do that, what do we got here? What is this panel here for? Is that just to set it up?
This is just your control board here. Basic operations, water temperatures, different settings that you can go through, power on and off. If you're running an error code, you can check all the settings on it, stuff like that. So it's it's the information control panel.
Okay.
Okay?
All right,
I'll
good.
take this off for you, Bob.
And I also want to point out, too, before we get into this maze, this what is it? What do they call it? That's called a manifold,
that's
right?
a manifold for it.
That's a manifold. This is your lines feeding into the system, right? This is
Yeah, feed and return.
feed and return for you, as we talked about. That's your feed and return.
Correct. These are your isolation valves here. You have simple purge
Right,
stations
to get
here.
the air out of the lines.
Out of your heat exchanger, correct, exactly. And these here are really nice. We use them all the time.
A little
Helps with
different than the
installation.
old-fashioned.
Oh yeah,
wheel,
absolutely.
huh?
Yeah, absolutely. No,
What
these
is
are-
that? Just
these are ball
Those are
style.
ball valves.
okay,
Ball style
yeah,
valves.
like the
Yep.
ball valve. Yep.
Yep. Full ball style valves.
Now, what do we got here? My God, stainless steel, I see.
Stainless steel. Yep. You have your primary heat exchanger here, secondary heat exchanger here, all stainless steel, which is great for obviously wear and tear, better than
Sure.
copper, better than any other material out there. And you also have a stainless steel tankless style hot water
yeah,
tank
tankless
inside.
steel.
You can't really
Wow.
see. It's in the back there, but that there's
Well,
stainless steel as well.
Look at the flow
right
check.
down
I mean, the valve.
The vent,
The
air
vent
yes.
valve.
Yep.
The vent-
Yep. So really
Wow.
nice. It looks kind of like a lot, but a really very simple unit, easy to work on. They've simplified a lot of things.
Right.
They're very helpful. Navient technical support. Steve, his guys down at Supply New England, they're fantastic. Excellent support team. If
Now,
you-
when Martel hooks one of these up, puts one in the house, this might scare somebody saying, "Oh, look, that looks awful complicated."
Right.
Now they have an issue with it. Who do they call?
They call me.
They call you.
Yep, absolutely. We stand behind it. We give a 1 year, 100% guarantee on all the work that we do.
Right. And
Navient-
certainly you'd have every issue, if there was an issue, you'd have that taken care of long before the year ran
Absolutely,
out.
absolutely. And they've been a great unit. We've had a lot of good luck with them. We've probably purchased over a couple hundred from
Hundreds.
Supply
Really?
New England.
Yeah?
Absolutely. But they've been great. We give a 1 year bumper to bumper 100% warranty after we install it. Navient also supplies a 1 year 100% warranty. Then they give a 5-year warranty on pots and a 10-year warranty on heat exchanger.
Oh wow.
So yeah, it's basically kind of a little bit better than the industry standard, the warranty that Navient
Yeah.
gives you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very good. Their technical line is very good when people have problems.
Now, how long have they made this system? This boiler. This is made in South Korea, right?
I've personally been using the unit now for probably around 4 years,
4 or
5
5
years.
years,
4 or 5 years we've been using them. They're made in South Korea.
Right.
They've been a great unit. We've had a lot of good luck with them.
Because I do know that a long time ago I looked at a unit, and I don't even know if they make them anymore. It began with a V. I can't think of the name.
Wiesmann probably.
Maybe I
Yeah.
don't remember, but I saw them in Europe,
Yep.
in Hungary
Yeah,
or
Germany.
something, and because over there everything is just totally different. Everything's more confined, smaller, and they got to be more efficient.
They're like this.
That's exactly what I meant. Yeah,
They've been using this technology for years. You know,
Right.
20, 30 years they've been using this technology overseas in Europe and stuff like that.
Right.
So it's not that it hasn't been around. It's new to the New England area, new to the States, this type of stuff, high efficiency heating.
Right. Well, we were always used to being, just not worrying about leaky faucets, not worrying about the, the small things, so to speak.
Right.
And now people are finally realizing, hey, you know something, we got to get our act together.
Well, it's costing you money.
Absolutely.
It's costing
Yeah.
you money, all those little things.
Especially,
Sure.
when oil was 20 cents a gallon or 30 cents a gallon, okay, but now
Yeah,
oil
couple
and gas or
dollars,
whatever is
$2.50.
so expensive now.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You got to get
But
get
we
thinking about it.
Caught up to it with the efficiency of the heating system.
Yeah, and the hot water. And by the way, these come just as for hot water too. You can just have a hot water system.
Correct.
if
You can
want.
actually get them in a heating only model, or you can get them in a hot water only
model.
model.
Yep.
And you can also get the combo unit like this
Yeah.
is.
No, this is the way I want to go. That's
Yeah.
where we're going to hook up.
Absolutely. We're going to hook them up in your house.
All right, we're going to hook one of them up, two of them up, three of them up,
Absolutely.
a couple of them
Whatever
up.
you need.
Whatever we need.
Yep.
All right, now they go see you on Lonsdale Avenue in Pawtucket.
Yep.
What number? Well, actually, not Lonsdale Avenue. They were on Thornley Street.
Yeah, but it's 273 Lonsdale.
273
is our main
Lonsdale,
address.
corner of Thornley
Oh,
Street.
Yeah. Supply New England has locations all over southern New England, too, though. We're
They're a
in,
beautiful showroom in Warwick.
in Warwick, in North Attleboro, Uxbridge. There's also a showroom in Natick, Mass., Yarmouth, Mass. We've got stores on the Cape, Orleans, Falmouth,
Wow, big
Martha's
operation.
Vineyard, Nantucket.
Cut it out.
Yep, then stores in Connecticut. We're in Hartford. We're in Guilford, Connecticut.
Wow,
Yeah.
big operation
Very,
there,
very
kid.
good size.
Huh?
Yep.
And you're in Lincoln, Martel,
Correct. Yep. Out of
Martel
Lincoln.
Plumbing and Heating, and
Yep.
Lincoln right on Smithfield Avenue. Is it just
Correct.
off of Smithfield or right on
Right
Smithfield?
on Smithfield
Right on
Avenue, yep.
Smithfield Avenue, just over the Pawtucket line. right?
Correct. Correct.
The Lincoln Pawtucket line.
Yep.
All right, well, we're going to see you soon because we're going to be doing a heating system. We're going to we're doing over this whole house, my old house where I grew up at McGill Street in Pawtucket. I've gutted the entire first floor. Gutted, you want to see it now. It's totally gutted out, just studs there. We're going to do it, everything from scratch, and we're going to televise it on Bob's Big Adventure. So we're going to be seeing you, Jim.
Looking forward to it, Bob. Thank you.
Very good.
Jim Martel, Martel Plumbing and Heating, and my
Thank you, Bob.
longtime friend, old friend, you can
Old
tell,
friend, yeah,
old
right.
friend, Steve Canning from Supply New England. I almost said Thornley Supply.
Supply, yeah.
You know I was going to say that.
Yeah,
you know I was going to
eventually,
throw that in there. Because it was on Thornley Street. It used to be called Thornley Supply a long time ago. We joke about
We
it.
go way back.
Because I've been dealing with that company since 1970. Can you believe that? Huh?
Long time.
Long time. All right, give me a clip. We'll be right back with the Major. We got the Majors in the house.
Freedom of speech, and he said they didn't have it in Massachusetts.
There was no place in the civilized world where the principles of religious freedom were being honored. So Roger Williams decided to create such a place. He called it Providence.
People could come here, worship however they wanted to, or not go to any church services at all. You have people from every religious background coming here and finding a sanctuary. This was what Rhode Island was founded on.
Oh, we're back. Wasn't that fun? You learn anything, Major?
I want one of those for my house.
I
Absolutely.
know.
It's
I'm going to
awesome.
put two of them in my house.
Well,
I'm
maybe put two.
redoing my old family house that's my father and mother bought in 1948.
Wow.
They're both deceased now, but I've gutted out one floor, totally gutted it out. I mean, down to the studs. No walls, no ceilings, no nothing. Even most of the floors are taken out. But all the plumbing, the electrical, everything is going to be new. And I'm trying to line up people that are in the trades to do different things in the
Absolutely.
house. You know, a plumber, carpenter, electrician. You know, different.
Keep it Rhode Island
different
based.
trades. Yeah.
That's
Oh
nice.
yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I've always been about promoting things Rhode Island, all things Rhode Island.
Same with us.
Always done it.
That's how we do it.
And the Air National Guard and the National Guard, Rhode Island National Guard and the Air National Guard have done a great job. And by the way, this is Major Mike Martin from, I can't believe it, you live in the same street that I lived when I lived in Woonsocket.
I do. Well, Oregon Ave.
I wasn't going to
10
say
years.
it, you said it.
That's okay.
Right up the street from where I live. I lived at 151. I remember it because of the rum.
Yeah, we're just up.
151,
Yep.
Oregon Avenue.
Love it.
And I had an issue there back in the day, and I told Mike about it off camera, and he didn't realize it, and it was back in 1990. Jack White did a expose about, my house was robbed. It cost $28,000 worth of camera equipment, a gold coins at a big display of coins. They cleaned me out, and it was somebody I knew's kid that robbed the house, and there was all kinds of stuff going on between the safety director and the chief of police and the mayor, and there was something wasn't right up there, and it blew up in their face. I didn't get my money back though. I took a bath because the insurance company only covered me for the face value. For instance, I had one coin, a quarter, that was worth at the time about $1,200. They gave me a quarter for it.
Goodness.
Anyway, we're here to talk about the air show.
Yes, very excited.
The Quonset Air Show is early this year, end of May. May 30th and 31st, you tell me.
Exactly. Yes, indeed. And it's going to be a big one. It's going to
Saturday
be one of
and
the
Sunday.
biggest.
The biggest in the country,
Well,
maybe.
that's we have 3 jet teams, which is
The Blue Angels,
the
of
Blue
course.
Angels, the Canadian Snowbirds, And the Breitling jet team they're coming over from Europe.
From France?
Mostly from France, absolutely.
They call them what again?
Breitling. Breitling watches.
Yeah.
They're sponsored by Breitling. It's the Breitling jet team, and it's their first appearance in America, and we're one of the first shows. They're coming to Rhode Island, absolutely. So probably the only show in the United States right now with 3 jet teams. I know it for a fact that we're one of the only we're the only show in the United States. So it gets bigger and bigger every year, and we're so proud of it. 25th year. This is our 25th anniversary, so we're very proud of that.
I don't know if you know my history with the air show. Bob's Big Adventures began the very, very first show I did was at the Quonset Air Show.
No kidding.
1992.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
The very first show I ever did. I was not going to do television. It just so happened that I was doing stuff at cable here, and they wanted me to do a cable show. They wanted me to do a talk show, but they wanted a political show. And I said, I don't want to do a political show. That would bore me to death, let alone anybody else. I says, if I find something that interests me, I'll do it. And then I ended up getting at the air show that one year, and I kind of snuck in, and I get in there with one of the leapfrogs, by the way, ironically. Yes, Steve Lewis. I'll never forget the guy's name.
Cool.
He snuck me in there, and I got to climb around the F-16s, and I did all kinds of stuff that time. I even got in I snuck in the stealth, which was off limits at the time.
Holy mackerel!
Yeah, I climbed in the stealth. Yeah,
with the Air Force.
That was unbelievable.
Wow! No
Ask you know who Chris
Callahan.
Chris Callahan.
Colonel Callahan, absolutely.
And Galogli.
Colonel Larry Galogli.
Anyway, tell us about what else is going to be there, because I guess we're running slow.
All right.
Running fast or whatever. Go ahead.
Fast or slow. We've got like I said, we have the Navy's Blue Angels. We have the Canadian Snowbirds. We have Europe's Breitling jet team. First appearance in America ever. Coming to our show, we have an F-18 coming from Canada for a demonstration.
Nice.
The U.S. Air Force F-16 demonstration. We have Sean D. Tucker and his Oracle Pitts Challenger. Guy's out of his mind.
Isn't he nuts?
Absolutely.
Did you ever go up in one of those planes?
Yes, I have.
I have.
I have indeed.
I
absolutely.
have too.
With Oracle, with Sean Tucker. Absolutely.
I went up with the kid from Klein Tools.
Oh, yeah, Mike Mancuso.
Mike,
great guy.
Yeah, from Long Island.
All
right,
guy.
go ahead.
We have Air National Guard demonstration, John Klatt flying his extra 3.
I've been on his plane, too.
Absolutely. We have the Jetlinks Waco, jet-powered Waco, so it's an old biplane with a jet engine strapped to the bottom of it.
Wow.
You got to see what this thing can do. It's absolutely amazing.
Wow.
It's amazing. We have the jet truck, the big Shockwave.
Oh, you do?
I
was afraid to say it because I was afraid you got to tell me we don't have that this year.
Coming back this year.
300 set the world record. 358 miles an hour or something like that.
It's a beast. I cannot wait. So we have the jet truck. We have the Geico Sky Typers, which is a 6-ship T-6 Texan Warbird demonstration. We have Greg Collier flies an old T-33 twin jet, which is from the Korean War era. One of our first American Air Force jets. We have P-51 demonstration. We have the Air Force Heritage flight flying also. We'll have the UH-60s from the Army National Guard.
Is Fat Albert going to be there?
Fat Albert will be performing.
We went up in Fat Albert. Remember,
absolutely.
I get to sit in the front. Everybody else had to sit in the back. I get to sit in the front with it. And the captain brought it up and
with the JADO and drops it. And you're hanging there in the air. Absolutely, it's
great. And
he
did an 80-degree in front of the crowd.
Oh, it's great. Yeah,
that was fun.
Of course, we're going to have our own C-130Js, Rhode Island Air National Guard C-130Js.
My favorite,
absolutely.
Corey's favorite. We've been up in a lot of those. That picture was taken from us. We took that picture.
Yeah, I've been up in those as well. They're awesome.
I love those.
A lot of fun.
Blackhawks, folks, if you've never seen one.
So we'll have the Blackhawks. We'll have our own C-130Js.
I love the C-130Js.
Oh, me too.
I flew all over the place in them.
They're great.
Centracchio back in the day. We went all over the place with those things.
So I think that's it.
The May 30th and May 31st.
May 30th and 31st.
Which is Saturday and Sunday.
Plenty to do on the ground, as much as you're going to, they'll be in the air. We're going to have the, Air Force and Marine Corps and Navy static displays.
All the static displays.
All the
static means it just sits there.
Quonset Air Museum. There's so much going on the ground. There's just as much going on the ground as there is going on in the air. And flying.
Any paratroopers?
No paratroopers this year. Nothing this year. Next year. Maybe next year. We're looking next year to bring them back.
Well, it seems like you got a busy enough
We have
schedule.
The show is going to start. First airplane will take off at 10 o'clock.
Saturday morning.
There'll be something flying in the air from 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock, all throughout the day. There'll never be anything There'll never be any
No
time
downtime.
when there'll be any downtime. Absolutely. So it's going to be phenomenal. Like I said, there's so much to do on the ground. The food, the drinks, all goes to charity. It's all for the kids. You
And
know.
what's the deal? Is it still you just pay to park, or you give a donation? You don't have to pay, but who wouldn't want to give?
Well,
a
our show is
donation?
it's 100% based around being able to make our charitable donations to Hasbro
Right.
Children's Hospital, $1.7 million right now to Hasbro, Ronald McDonald House, Special Olympics, Make a Wish, many Special Olympics, many significant organizations throughout the state. We really try to focus on local. Same thing with our sponsors, all Rhode Island-based organizations. The food, the drink, the novelty, stuff like that. Rhode Island. We really
So,
wanna-
folks, the deal is there. You want to get there early, and you do want to donate. You throw $10, $5, $10, $20.
$10 parking donation. It's not mandatory.
$10. Yeah, it's not mandatory, but don't be a cheap bastard. Make the donation, at least
Exactly.
$10.
Don't be
and
cheap.
if you got a carload of people, up it a little bit.
There you go.
Because that's what you survive on, and that's what
It really is.
That's what how you help so many charitable organizations.
It's all civilian sponsorship
Did I
based.
swear? Yeah, I did, didn't I? Go ahead.
All right.
But I can do that.
Yeah, we don't charge an entrance fee,
Right.
and it's all everything we do is based off civilian sponsorship and the charitable donations, the parking donations. So it's quite an operation. Like I said, 25 years, and it all everything goes to charity.
And
Everything
by
goes
the
to
way,
kids.
it's also my anniversary.
That's why
Toys
we did
for
it.
Tots.
That's
When I started Toys for Tots, and what helped me get the Toys for Tots off the ground was doing Bob's Big Adventure and An Hour with Bob, and the air show allowed me to do it all.
Yeah, we support a lot of, like I said, on the ground. There'll be veterans groups and different organizations that are, working to find cures for various, illnesses and things like that. So we try to bring it all in as much as we can. It's the single largest event in the state.
It is.
And on a good day, we'll bring 55 to 60,000 people. So
An award-winning event.
We've won.
Right?
We
They won
actually
the award
We won
for the
Dick
best
Schramm,
air show.
Best air show.
And the one most liked by all pilots, right?
The Blue Angels gave us an award a few years ago. We won 2 awards this year for our hospitality and our event management at our annual air show conference this past December. We won 2 awards for that. We've won our Community Service Award that the International Community of Air Shows hands out annually. We've won that twice, actually.
Wow.
One of only a few air shows in the United
That's
States. It's
amazing.
actually won it
Little
once.
old Rhode Island,
Little
right
roadie.
here.
Very proud of
and
it.
come down and see Major Mike. Major Mike, thank you for stopping by.
Thanks so much, Bob.
Major Mike Martin, come see him the 30th and the 31st of May.
Absolutely.
Starts at 10 o'clock. You want to be down there even earlier.
Doors
If you get
open
down
at
there
9.
Earlier, yeah.
Doors open at 9, show starts at 10.
9 o'clock. Get there at 9 o'clock so you beat all the traffic.
Absolutely.
You don't want to be on the traffic, on the road at 1 in the afternoon. Kind of crazy. You spend an hour in the traffic, whereas if you left an hour earlier, you'd get there and you wouldn't have as much traffic. Or 2 hours
Absolutely.
earlier.
And I'll tell you what, people are coming through the door at 2:30 in the afternoon. They just want to be there. They're just
Right.
They want to support the cause. They obviously want to watch a great show. But it's such it's the total package family event. You know what I mean? You don't
It's a
have to pay
great
any
event.
money,
It's
and,
unbelievably well run.
very proud of it. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Awesome.
Well, thank you. Thank you to the Rhode Island Air National Guard and the
National
National
Guard
Guard
as
as
a
a
whole.
whole.
Absolutely.
For all the fun and all the fun times and all the great memories I've had with the National Guard and the Air National Guard and the Air Show.
Me too. Absolutely.
And thank you, folks, for spending an hour with Bob. And thanks to, is he still here? Steve's still here. Steve Cannon here, and Jim Martel's here from Martel Plumbing and Heating, but Mike Montecalvo left, right? All right. Until next time, folks, thank you for spending an hour with Bob.